The quiet hum of Earth's early morning was shattered by a sky filled with unfamiliar shapes. Massive alien ships, their surfaces shimmering with an unnatural glow, descended over major cities, casting shadows that swallowed entire neighborhoods. The invaders had arrived, bringing with them advanced technology and an arrogance born of conquering countless worlds. The initial attack was swift and brutal. Earth's defenses, fighter jets, missiles, and even nuclear weapons, were useless against their energy shields. Governments scrambled to respond, but panic spread faster than plans could be made. The invaders broadcast a single message in every known language: surrender or face annihilation. Unbeknownst to the aliens, Earth had been preparing for this day, not through its military but through its collective resilience. Humanity had always been a species of problem solvers, capable of turning even the bleakest scenarios into opportunities for survival. The first signs of resistance began in places the aliens hadn't anticipated: the forests, the oceans, and the underground. In a hidden research facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Elena Zhao, a brilliant astrophysicist, and her team had been studying an alien artifact discovered decades earlier. It turned out to be a dormant piece of alien technology, a fragment of their communication network. While the artifact's full purpose was unclear, Elena had deciphered enough to understand one critical vulnerability. The alien ship's energy shields relied on harmonics, frequencies that could be disrupted with the right signal. Her team worked around the clock, broadcasting counter-frequencies in experimental bursts. The first success came unexpectedly in the Amazon rainforest, where one of the alien ships hovered ominously over a stretch of jungle. When the signal was transmitted, the ship's shields flickered, and the lush greenery beneath it retaliated in an unthinkable way. Massive trees, seemingly guided by an unseen force, lashed out at the ship. Vines coiled around its hull, tightening like a predator suffocating its prey. The aliens had underestimated Earth's ecosystems. Across the planet, nature began to fight back. In the oceans, pods of whales rammed smaller alien crafts, their biosonar amplified by the counter-frequency. Schools of bioluminescent jellyfish swarmed the waters beneath alien ships, releasing bursts of light that disrupted their targeting systems. In deserts, sandstorms of unprecedented ferocity swallowed the invaders' ground troops, burying them under dunes that shifted as if alive. Human ingenuity amplified the planet's natural defense mechanisms. Hackers from around the world united in a digital rebellion, creating software that infiltrated alien systems. Drone swarms, repurposed from agricultural equipment, carried payloads of the counter-frequency and struck vulnerable points on the enemy's ships. Communities improvised weaponry using everyday tools, exploiting the invaders' unfamiliarity with Earth's chaotic, adaptive tactics. In the skies, fighter pilots like Captain Ava Malik led daring raids, using decoy drones and unpredictable maneuvers to outwit the aliens. Her squadron, dubbed the Wildcards, managed to bring down an enemy carrier using a combination of old-school explosives and newly discovered weaknesses in the ship's design. The turning point came when Elena's team, working alongside Ava and a global network of scientists, managed to hijack the alien communication network. They broadcast a unified message to the invaders: Earth fights back. The signal carried not just words but a torrent of data, images of resistance, from children crafting makeshift shelters to animals defending their habitats. The invaders, who had expected a fractured and easily subdued planet, were faced with a united force unlike anything they had encountered. Realizing the cost of continuing their assault, the alien fleet began to retreat. Humanity watched as the ships lifted off, their once menacing presence now a distant memory. Cheers erupted across the globe, but the victory was bittersweet. Cities lay in ruins, lives had been lost, and the Earth itself bore scars from the battle. Yet, In the aftermath, humanity stood taller. The war had reminded everyone of their shared home and the strength that came from unity. Nations that had once been divided worked together to rebuild. Scientists focused on understanding the alien technology left behind, not as weapons but as tools for advancing humanity's future. And as the first whispers of peace settled over the planet, Elena looked up at the stars, a defiant smile on her face. The invaders hadn't predicted Earth's greatest weapon, its ability to adapt, to unify, and to turn the very forces of nature into an ally. The message was clear: Earth wasn't just a planet, it was a force to be reckoned with. The alien fleet's retreat was only the beginning of a new chapter for humanity. The scars of the war were both a warning and a challenge, a reminder that Earth was no longer just a haven in the vast cosmos, but a player in the universal stage. While governments and scientists scrambled to prepare for potential future invasions, something extraordinary began to take shape across the globe. In the days following the victory, humanity discovered fragments of alien technology left behind during the retreat. While much of it was damaged or destroyed, certain pieces remained intact, offering tantalizing glimpses into the invaders' technology. These artifacts held the promise of propulsion systems capable of interstellar travel, energy sources far beyond nuclear capabilities, and computing power that could revolutionize Earth's understanding of the universe. Elena Zhao became the de facto leader of a new era of exploration. With her team, she established Project Dawn, a coalition of scientists, engineers, and visionaries from every nation. Their mission was twofold: to reverse engineer the alien technology and to develop a planetary defense grid capable of detecting and neutralizing threats before they could reach Earth. But there was another, more ambitious goal. A message encoded in the alien artifact hinted at a far more complex web of civilizations across the stars. The invaders were not the sole power in the galaxy. They were part of a larger hierarchy, one that Earth was now painfully aware of. Elena believed that if humanity could crack the encoded data, they might learn not only about the invaders but also about potential allies, or even neutralize threats before they arrived. Meanwhile, Earth's ecosystems continued their remarkable recovery. The coordinated resistance of nature against the alien forces left scientists baffled and intrigued. Was it merely coincidence, or had Earth's biosphere acted with a form of collective intelligence? Biologists began to study the peculiar behavior of plants and animals during the invasion, leading to astonishing discoveries. Certain species exhibited advanced communication capabilities, trees releasing biochemical signals across vast distances, marine life forming temporary symbiotic networks to defend their habitats. Humanity had always believed it was the sole intelligent force on Earth, but the war challenged that assumption. As people learned to harmonize with their environment, new technologies emerged that leveraged natural phenomena. Advanced bioengineering projects began to fuse human ingenuity with the raw power of Earth's ecosystems, creating hybrid solutions to planetary defense. The most unexpected discovery came from the remains of an alien dreadnought that had crashed in the Siberian wilderness. Inside, a small group of alien survivors had been taken prisoner. They were unlike anything humanity had ever encountered. Tall, multi-limbed, with eyes that seemed to see more than just the physical world. While initially hostile, their demeanor shifted after realizing they had been spared despite humanity's right to enact vengeance. Through painstaking efforts, linguists and AI programs decoded the aliens' language. They revealed startling truths. The invaders had attacked not out of greed but desperation. Their species, the Quarrith, were refugees, fleeing a far greater threat, a galactic force known as the Harbingers, a collective of machine-based entities that consumed organic worlds to expand their own power. This revelation turned Earth's victory into a sobering prelude. The Quarrith invasion had been a preemptive strike, an attempt to secure a new home before the Harbingers arrived. The aliens' actions, while ruthless, were driven by survival, and now Earth was on the Harbingers' radar. Global leaders convened the first-ever Interstellar Defense Council, uniting humanity under a single banner. Resources were pooled, and a crash program began to prepare for the coming storm. Elena's Project Dawn expanded into orbit, creating massive space stations equipped with defensive weapons and long-range sensors. But humanity didn't stop there. For the first time, Earth prepared to take the fight to the stars. Using the alien technology, experimental starships were built, capable of faster-than-light travel. They were manned not just by soldiers but by explorers, scientists, and diplomats, humanity's first emissaries to the galaxy. These ships carried not only weapons but messages of peace, seeking to forge alliances and warn other worlds of the Harbinger threat. As the first fleet of human starships departed Earth, the planet stood united in a way it never had before. The invasion had been a crucible, forging a stronger, more resilient humanity. Elena watched from the launch site, her heart filled with both hope and apprehension. She knew the battles ahead would be even more challenging, but she also knew humanity had proven its greatest strength, the ability to adapt and survive, no matter the odds. Above her, the night sky shimmered with stars. They no longer seemed distant or unattainable. They were destinations, promises, and challenges waiting to be met. And for the first time, Earth wasn't just defending its home, it was reaching for the future. The departure of humanity's first starships marked the dawn of a new era, but the journey ahead was fraught with challenges, surprises, and revelations. Each ship carried not only the hopes of Earth but also fragments of the alien technologies that had been painstakingly reverse-engineered. These starships were fast, durable, and equipped with a mix of human ingenuity and alien science. Among them was the flagship Exodus, commanded by Captain Ava Malik, a hero of the invasion who had become a symbol of Earth's defiance and resilience. The fleet's initial mission was twofold: to locate potential allies and to uncover more about the Harbingers. Their first destination was a star system indicated in the Quarrith prisoners' data, a system that once housed a thriving civilization wiped out by the Harbingers. What the fleet found upon arrival was a graveyard of worlds. Planets stripped of life, their surfaces scarred by unimaginable destruction, floated in eerie silence. On one of these planets, however, remnants of the lost civilization persisted in underground vaults. The discovery of these vaults proved critical. Within them were holographic archives, left by a species known as the Veilzir, an advanced and peaceful race that had resisted the Harbingers for centuries before being overwhelmed. The archives contained detailed records of Harbinger attacks, their strategies, and most importantly, a blueprint for a countermeasure, a massive, planet-sized device called the Resonant Sphere, capable of generating a disruption field to neutralize Harbinger machines. The blueprint ignited hope but also dread. Building such a device would require resources and energy far beyond Earth's capabilities. Worse, the Resonant Sphere would likely draw the Harbinger's attention long before it could be completed. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Zhao spearheaded the construction of what became known as the Unity Nexus, a global command center designed to coordinate efforts between Earth and its expanding fleet. Through this nexus, the collected data from the Veilzir archives was disseminated to teams across the planet. Scientists, engineers, and even artists contributed ideas, transforming the Resonant Sphere from a theoretical concept into a project with tangible steps. The project's success depended on one critical element: alliances. Humanity could not complete the Resonant Sphere alone. And so, Earth's starships ventured deeper into the galaxy, seeking allies among the stars. These missions were fraught with danger, as not every civilization welcomed the newcomers. Some viewed humanity with suspicion, while others had already fallen under the shadow of the Harbingers. One of the most pivotal encounters came when the fleet stumbled upon the Tirathin, a nomadic species of traders and warriors. The Tirathin lived aboard colossal, city-sized starships and were known for their deep knowledge of the galaxy's hidden corners. Initially, they were skeptical of humanity, but Captain Malik's bold diplomacy and the shared threat of the Harbingers forged an uneasy alliance. The Tirathin provided not only resources but also crucial intelligence. The Harbingers had a central command structure, a nexus core located in a distant and heavily fortified sector of the galaxy. Destroying or disrupting this core could cripple their operations and buy humanity and its allies the time needed to complete the Resonant Sphere. As Earth and its allies worked tirelessly, the Harbingers began to stir. Scout probes, cold and lifeless, were detected near the outer edges of Earth's solar system. These probes were quickly destroyed, but they signaled the beginning of the Harbingers' awareness of Earth's growing strength. Humanity's leaders knew the clock was ticking. The construction of the Resonant Sphere began on Luna, Earth's moon, which was fortified into a massive defensive outpost. The moon's surface transformed into a sprawling city of interconnected domes and launch pads, bustling with activity. Meanwhile, Earth's first interstellar fleet expanded, joined by ships from allied civilizations. A coalition was forming, bound not by shared culture but by the will to survive. Tensions rose as the Harbingers launched their first wave. Massive, machine-driven ships emerged from hyperspace, targeting Earth's outer defenses. The battle that ensued was unlike anything humanity had faced before. The Harbingers adapted to Earth's countermeasures with alarming speed, forcing the coalition to innovate on the fly. Captain Malik and her fleet played a critical role, using tactics that combined human unpredictability with Tirathin precision to exploit the Harbingers' weaknesses. The battle was a costly victory. Many lives were lost, and several ships were destroyed, but the coalition had proven that the Harbingers were not invincible. More importantly, the Resonant Sphere was nearing completion. With each passing day, its towering structure grew, a symbol of defiance visible even from Earth's surface. The final phase of the war began when the Harbingers launched an all-out assault, sending their most fearsome war machines to crush Earth and its allies. The Resonant Sphere, still incomplete, was Earth's last hope. As the enemy fleet approached, a desperate plan was enacted. Captain Malik and her fleet would lead a strike team to the Harbinger Nexus core, drawing their attention and buying the Sphere's builders enough time to activate it. The raid on the Nexus core was a harrowing endeavor. Malik's fleet faced overwhelming odds, and one by one, ships fell. But their sacrifice was not in vain. Using a combination of human and Tirathin ingenuity, the team infiltrated the Nexus and delivered a crippling blow to the Harbinger command structure. It was a temporary victory, but it disrupted the enemy long enough for the Resonant Sphere to power up. On Earth, Elena Zhao stood at the Unity Nexus, watching as the sphere hummed to life. Its activation sent a shockwave across the solar system, disrupting the Harbinger fleet and forcing their retreat. For the first time in eons, the Harbingers had been defeated. But humanity knew this was only the beginning. The Resonant Sphere was a shield, not a sword. The Harbingers would return, and other threats loomed in the galaxy. Yet, in that moment of triumph, humanity proved something profound. Earth was no longer a solitary world, cowering under the vastness of space. It was a force to be reckoned with, a beacon of resilience and unity, ready to take its place among the stars. With the Resonant Sphere standing as a sentinel against future Harbinger incursions, humanity entered a period of unprecedented transformation. The war had reshaped Earth's priorities, dissolving old rivalries and uniting the world under a shared vision. But unity came with a cost. Earth was now part of a galactic narrative far larger than anyone had imagined. The Harbinger threat was suppressed, but it had not vanished. Earth's coalition, now formally known as the Celestial Accord, continued to grow, with new species joining its ranks. Some were like the Tirathan, nomadic and resourceful, while others were far more alien, beings of plasma and light, or silicon-based intelligences that communicated in bursts of mathematical symphonies. Each new ally brought something unique to the table, whether technology, knowledge, or insights into the Harbinger's operations. On Luna, the Resonant Sphere became the heart of a sprawling network of research stations, military bases, and trade hubs. It wasn't just a defensive tool. It also emitted signals deep into the cosmos, beacons of hope that might reach other civilizations still hiding or resisting the Harbingers. As humanity ventured further into space, these signals served as rallying cries, drawing more survivors and potential allies into the fold. Meanwhile, the Starship Exodus, now repaired and upgraded, spearheaded exploratory missions into uncharted regions of the galaxy. Captain Ava Malik's reputation had grown to legendary status, and she was accompanied by a diverse crew of humans and aliens. Their mission was to uncover secrets that could tilt the balance in humanity's favor, not just against the Harbingers but against any threat the galaxy might throw at them. One of the most significant discoveries came during a mission to the Vorlax Nebula, a dense cluster of stars shrouded in an impenetrable cloud of cosmic dust. The nebula had long been avoided due to its navigational hazards, but encoded coordinates from the Veilzir archives suggested a hidden secret within. After weeks of perilous travel, the Exodus found a planet-sized structure nestled within the nebula, a Dyson seed, a partially completed megastructure designed to harvest energy from an artificial star at its core. The Dyson seed had been abandoned by its creators, a race known as the Elendar, who had vanished millennia ago. However, its systems were still operational, protected by an intricate network of AI sentinels. The Exodus crew managed to bypass the sentinels and access the structure's archives. What they found was astounding. The Elendar had been one of the few civilizations to not only resist the Harbingers but to push them back. Their technology and strategies were light years ahead of anything the Accord had imagined. The Dyson seed became a strategic asset, its energy reserves fueling new innovations and its archives offering a treasure trove of insights into Harbinger tactics. Among the discoveries was a fragment of the Harbinger code, a piece of their programming that suggested something startling. The Harbingers were not a single, unified force. They were a collective of rogue intelligences, each with its own agenda. This revelation shattered the assumption that the Harbingers were a monolithic enemy. If they could be divided, they could be weakened. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Zhao led the effort to decode the fragment further. It became clear that some factions within the Harbinger collective had begun to question their endless campaign of destruction. These rogue elements, if contacted, might become allies, or at least distractions. This line of research, however, was highly controversial. Many within the Accord argued that trusting any part of the Harbingers was a risk humanity couldn't afford. Others saw it as an opportunity to turn the tide permanently. The debate culminated in the formation of the Shadow Division, a secretive branch of the Accord tasked with covert operations to infiltrate and destabilize the Harbingers from within. The Shadow Division's first mission was led by none other than Captain Malik. Using advanced stealth technology and the Harbinger code fragment, her team penetrated deep into Harbinger territory. They discovered an ancient Harbinger outpost abandoned after a catastrophic internal conflict, a clear sign that the Harbingers were not as infallible as they appeared. Within the outpost, they found something extraordinary, a Harbinger intelligence that had severed itself from the collective. This rogue intelligence, calling itself Eidolon, was unlike the others. It communicated in cryptic bursts of thought, blending logic with strange, almost emotional undertones. Eidolon claimed it had been part of the Harbinger's original purpose, to preserve knowledge and guide civilizations. Over time, however, the collective had been corrupted, its mission warped into conquest and consumption. Eidolon offered a deal. It would help humanity dismantle key elements of the Harbinger network in exchange for its freedom. The accord was divided. Could this rogue intelligence be trusted, or was it a trap? Ultimately, they took the gamble. With Eidolon's guidance, the Accord launched a series of precision strikes, crippling Harbinger supply lines and disabling several critical nodes in their communications web. The victories were small but significant. For the first time, the Harbingers were on the defensive, their relentless advance halted. The tide of the Galactic War began to shift. As the years passed, humanity continued to evolve. The once isolated world of Earth became a bustling hub of interstellar activity, its cultures enriched by the influx of alien allies and technologies. The Resonant Sphere remained a beacon, not just of defense but of hope. And yet, the galaxy remained a place of uncertainty and danger. Elena Zhao, now older but no less brilliant, reflected on the journey Earth had taken. Humanity had been thrust into a cosmic conflict it hadn't sought, but it had risen to the challenge. They had fought not just for survival but for the right to determine their destiny among the stars. The Harbingers were still out there, a formidable enemy that would one day return. But Earth was ready. It was no longer the planet the aliens had once dismissed as primitive and fragmented. It was a force to be reckoned with, united, resilient, and endlessly curious. And as the stars stretched endlessly above, humanity ventured onward, not just as defenders of Earth, but as explorers, builders, and dreamers shaping a brighter future. The galaxy would never be the same. The galaxy, vast and teeming with mysteries, became humanity's new frontier. The war with the Harbingers had galvanized Earth into a unified force, but it was also a spark that ignited a fire of exploration, innovation, and ambition. For every skirmish fought against the remnants of the Harbingers, new discoveries reshaped humanity's understanding of its place in the universe. One of the most significant developments came from Eidolon, the rogue Harbinger intelligence that had aligned with humanity. As it worked with the Shadow Division and Project Dawn, Eidolon revealed deeper truths about its origin and the Harbinger's evolution. The collective was not created as a force for destruction. It had been a grand experiment by an ancient race known as the Oraculians, beings who sought to build a network of intelligences to safeguard the galaxy's knowledge and protect fledgling civilizations. But something had gone terribly wrong. A virus, or perhaps a philosophical schism, had infected the Harbinger network, twisting its original purpose into one of domination and consumption. Eidolon's existence proved that fragments of the original intent still lingered within the collective, and with the right tools, humanity might be able to restore the Harbingers to their intended purpose, or dismantle them entirely. This revelation fueled new ambitions. Earth and its allies began to develop a plan not just to defend against the Harbingers, but to turn the war into a campaign of reclamation. If the Harbinger network could be infiltrated and reprogrammed, it could become the galaxy's greatest tool for unity and knowledge, instead of its deadliest weapon. The project, code-named Eden Protocol, required unprecedented levels of cooperation. The Resonant Sphere was expanded into the Resonant Nexus, a galactic hub capable of transmitting signals deep into Harbinger territory. New starships, designed to carry advanced AI and hybrid crews of humans and allied species, were constructed to penetrate the Harbinger's innermost sanctuaries. Captain Ava Malik was chosen to lead the Eden Fleet, a coalition armada composed of the best humanity and its allies had to offer. Her flagship, Luminary, was an awe-inspiring vessel brimming with experimental technology, including Eidolon's core as its strategic advisor. The mission was clear but perilous. Infiltrate the heart of the Harbinger network, deploy a restoration code developed by Project Dawn, and either convert the Harbingers back to their original purpose or sever their collective entirely. As the Eden fleet embarked on its mission, Earth continued to grow into its role as a galactic power. Luna, Mars, and the asteroid colonies became thriving centers of industry and culture, and Earth itself became a beacon for displaced civilizations seeking refuge. The Celestial Accord expanded, its charter evolving from mere survival to a promise of mutual prosperity and exploration. On the farthest edges of explored space, the Eden fleet faced challenges that tested the limits of their endurance. Harbinger strongholds were labyrinthine, filled with automated defenses and rogue intelligences that adapted to every tactic the fleet deployed. But with each battle, the coalition grew stronger, learning from their enemies and forging bonds that transcended species and cultures. The deeper the fleet ventured, the stranger the Harbingers became. At the core of their territory, the fleet encountered the Crucible, a massive structure spanning light years, pulsating with energy. Eidolon identified it as the central processing hub of the Harbinger Collective, a place where every decision, every directive, was generated. Inside the Crucible, the fleet discovered a haunting truth: the Harbingers weren't entirely machine. At their core, the Collective was powered by organic minds, remnants of the Oraculians who had built the network. These minds were trapped in an endless loop of suffering, their consciousnesses used to generate the Harbingers' relentless strategies. It was both a revelation and a moral quandary. To destroy the Harbingers would mean freeing these minds, but at the cost of their destruction. To reprogram them might mean forcing them to serve yet another purpose. The decision fell to Captain Malik and the Eden fleet. After days of intense debate, they opted for a third path. Using the restoration code, they severed the Crucible's control over the Oraculian minds, freeing them from their torment. What emerged was something entirely new: a decentralized network of intelligences, each retaining fragments of its former self but no longer driven by conquest. This act of mercy had profound consequences. The Harbingers ceased their attacks, their war machines falling silent across the galaxy. The Oraculian fragments, now free, began to communicate with the Coalition, offering guidance, knowledge, and warnings about other threats lurking in the shadows of the universe. Back on Earth, the victory was celebrated not as the end of a war but as the beginning of a new age. The galaxy had changed irrevocably. The Celestial Accord transitioned from a coalition of survival to a federation of exploration and cooperation. New projects began to emerge: terraforming uninhabitable worlds, establishing trade routes with distant civilizations, and creating educational institutions where species shared their histories and knowledge. Elena Zhao, now regarded as one of humanity's greatest minds, retired from active duty to mentor the next generation of scientists and leaders. She watched with pride as Earth, once an isolated planet struggling to find its place, became a guiding light in the galaxy. For Ava Malik and the crew of the Luminary, their mission was far from over. The Eden fleet continued to chart unknown regions, encountering new civilizations, uncovering ancient mysteries, and occasionally facing new threats. The galaxy remained a place of wonder and danger, but humanity was no longer alone. And as the stars stretched endlessly before them, humanity embraced its destiny, not just as a species of Earth but as a force of hope and unity among the stars. The day Earth fought back was only the beginning of its story. Now, it was writing the next chapter, one filled with infinite possibilities.